And one of our other topics we were going to talk about today, which is the Iran war and the energy price shock we're seeing because of the trouble in the Strait of Hormuz. So, do you want to introduce this topic in terms of energy?
Yeah, sure.
I think we're all aware that the Iran war has been waged for the last couple of months. It turns out that Iran didn't really need a nuclear weapon after all, because they have a pretty powerful trump card already, which is the ability to close one of the most important straits in the entire world, the Strait of Hormuz, where a large proportion of the world's oil supply flows through every day. And we've seen Iran try to blockade the strait. We've seen America try to counter-blockade the strait. Turns out, as long as the threat of a blockade is there to some of these ships carrying the oil, it just absolutely disrupts the entire flow through the strait. Just the threat of it, you don't even need to do anything. You just have to say, "Oh, we've put mines in the strait, and you're not allowed to pass." It's very easy to blockade it, and it's just caused absolute mayhem.
I'm not a political journalist, so I'm not going to go in detail about the geopolitical implication of the war. But just talking about the energy perspective, I think that Europe might be one of the countries that suffered the most. Of course, countries like India are already suffering. There is other countries across the world that are going through their gas rationing very quickly. But one of the main problems that Europe has had for decades, because we've seen it in 2016, we've seen it in 2022 with the Russian war, we're seeing again in 2026 with the Iran conflict, is that Europe has been talking about energy security, energy independence for 20 years, and we still haven't achieved it, right? We talk about how many wind farms Germany has, but Germany is still running on coal. We talk about all the wind projects done in the UK, and then we still depend on gas, and gas sets the price for the cost of electricity in the UK. Obviously, I don't know what the implication short term will be, because now we're acquiring more gas from Russia in the past few weeks. There's been a shortage of jet fuels, so I've seen that there is airplanes in Italy that are not flying on a regular schedule. And the amount, just if I remember correctly from some of the numbers portrayed by the Financial Times, even if the strait was opened back today, it would take about 5 to 6 weeks before there's new shipments arriving in Europe. And so the price of gas is pretty much been affected from now until the end of the year, at least until December. Even with increased amount of shippings, we wouldn't be able to cover the amount of gas that has been lost in this past month. So the question that I think every government in Europe and the European Union and the UK should address is, how much do we truly want to be energy independent? How much money are we willing to invest? And do we actually have the belief that being energy independent will allow us to build a stronger, safer economy for all the citizens? And I think the answer is yes to all of these questions. And I think that there should be much stronger incentive to develop renewable power, to develop battery projects, and make all of the countries as independent as possible from countries that unfortunately are less geopolitically stable than our continent. But this is my opinion, and probably I can't, so I'm not going to add anything further.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the trouble is ending anytime soon either, does it? I mean, I'm not entirely sure who Trump is even negotiating with anymore, because does Iran have a new stable government yet? I don't think so. They've eliminated most of the top officials that used to be part of the main government, and now who are they negotiating with? Do they have the authority to open the strait even? I'm not sure. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a bit of a segue into Mamdani and his new mansion tax, as some people are calling it, in New York City.